Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at wcbe.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Jordan Hanalami.
And this is It's Movie Time. Jordan, did I hear, when I asked you to do the show today on my Octopus Teacher, I heard you'd already been on Facebook and said you liked it.
You're a little bit off. It was loved it. Yes, yeah, I was effusing the praise of the movie. It was couldn't find enough words for it.
Well, it was so strange because I asked you without knowing.
Oh, really?
That you even knew about.
Oh, cool.
But I just thought that this would be, this would be my Octopus Teacher. Who else but you would look at something named like that?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, it looks like a decent amount of people are. I think it's getting some good, really, really good word of mouth, and I'm really, really excited to see that. And so I hope we can spread that more.
It is a Netflix smash.
Yeah, seems to be.
George, this has got to be one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and certainly on Netflix. Would you say?
Yes, and I'd go as far to say it's one of my favorite movies I've seen. I don't like to speak in hyperbole and throw things around like that, but it at least is one of the most affecting movies I've ever experienced.
And why, Jordan? Why? What is it about this? Again, I give you the title, My Octopus Teacher. So obviously it's undersea, and it's about an octopus. Yeah,
and it's a movie that's thinking about heading into this, having this conversation. It's a little difficult because it's one you don't want to spoil too much, I guess, because there's some adventure and things within it. So, first and foremost, just see this movie. But yeah, it does what documentaries can do best, which is show you that the world around you is as amazing as anything fictional that Hollywood can create. So the adventure within this, the thrillingness, is exciting as anything I've seen. The emotion of it is obviously as heart-wrenching as you can be. It's all the stuff that you want from a movie.
Well, I tell you, Jordan, the way you're talking about it and the way I feel about it, it's almost like a love story.
It really is.
Between Craig Foster, who's the diver, and the narrator. And boy, he has a lilting voice for that narration, doesn't he?
He really does. I mean, the compliment of those kind of, for anyone that's even just watched undersea films before or been undersea, just that movement of water and his voice, just, you're right, it just goes along with it perfectly.
Well, he's off the coast of Africa, West Africa, I think.
Yeah, southwest.
South, the south, and it's a stormy place. I mean, it would be very difficult to scuba dive. Is essentially what he's doing.
Yeah.
He has no tank.
Right.
He doesn't like to have something, even a wetsuit. He doesn't like to have anything between him and the kelp forest.
Yeah, and he had done that he kind of took this adventure on as a way of decompressing from filming. He'd worked in filming nature for years and had gotten really beat down and worn down from the experiences he was having, and this didn't start out as, it didn't sound like as a a film project in particular.
No.
He was just trying to heal himself, really.
Jordan, as a side note, how does this guy make any money? How does he make a living? His wife must be working, right?
She must. It is always amazing to me. It makes me happy that documentarians are living lives and eating meals and things and stuff, but I don't know how they make all their money.
The reason we're saying this is that he goes out every day for almost a year.
Yep.
He first meets his love, the little octopus. My gosh, Jordan, what a beautiful little animal.
Yeah, and sees it in a way that it's, they've done a couple different, when you see those pictures on Netflix for the movie, one of them, I think they've had it where it's just the octopus, but also in this way that he meets it, which I don't think is spoiling anything to say that has all these seashells all around it, and is just this, truly magical thing that it sounds like not many people had seen before with an octopus, and for him to be able to capture it on film, and it plays out later in the film.
Well, that little what how do you call that? It's what do you call the kind of animal, the kind of fish that it is? I forget.
Oh, a pod,
Yeah, anyway, it is an octopus,
Yeah.
what do you need to know? All right, it's probably invertebrate.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And so he catches him going into his little cave, or
Mhm.
her.
mm-hmm,
Notice he never gives her a name.
right.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and it's a really, a special balance that he walks in this movie of appreciating nature and, in I thought a fun way that you put it in your review of the film is a Star Trek like
Oh, yeah, the
distance.
non-intervention.
Yeah, and he does his best not to get involved in situations as much as he grows to care about the octopus. He knows that nature is, he respects nature
Yeah.
and his place within, you know, that and what he should and shouldn't be involved in, so.
So he goes back every day and he watches in all kinds of circumstances for this little octopus. And I tell you, I still think about Jordan when the octopus crawls on him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when she gets enough trust, isn't
Yeah.
that just a very important part of the film?
It really is, and it's you know, there's been some. I think people in general are starting to really appreciate how incredible these creatures are. As he talks about in the movie, and again, you quoted the alien-like nature of octopus. That there's all these, you know, people have kind of half-kiddingly said that they think they might be aliens because of all these very specific, their blue blood and you know, just the
good one.
different stuff about them that they can, you know, as big as they are, they can crawl through a hole the size of a quarter and stuff, you know, like it's just
Yes.
crazy.
I
And
know.
there's no other real animal like it. But so there was another documentary PBS did recently that was, you know, reminded me of somewhere a guy this was different where it was a guy who had loved octopuses for many years.
Okay.
And brought one into his home in
Okay.
a tank and got to know it.
Oh.
Like, so it was a more of a, I guess, quote unquote, like forced. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't. He took great care of it, but he brought it into his home in a tank and got to know it and stuff. Whereas this, you know, Craig was getting to know it out in nature in a more natural way.
I think
But yeah, that grabbing onto and just that, feeling has to be.
And there's one shot where he's holding the octopus in both his hands,
Yeah.
like an act of love. This is just so beautiful, so lyrical.
Yeah, and the octopus reaches out to him, like you said, like
Oh,
it's, you know, it's not the kind of thing where he's trying to force, you know, it to
Yeah.
like him. He's letting it happen.
Oh
as it
yes,
is,
and at some point the octopus follows him.
Mhm.
He says, "You've never felt anything. You've never experienced anything like having an octopus follow you."
Right.
Now the best I know is Jules Verne.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what we all know, kind of a magnified
Right.
octopus. But this thing, one of the things I really appreciated too was his astonishment at her intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking, and
Yeah, you're as an audience member, you're kind of learning with him, like you're experiencing that awe of as he learns things, you learn things and stuff about it, and that is beautiful.
and there is, you know, lest this seem like some soporific film where you're going to fall asleep or in the middle of it. It's not.
No.
There's plenty of action.
There really is. I mean, honestly, it's one of those things that if you wrote, this might be what, if you were to write a fictionalized version of something, this might be what you wrote. Because it's like, it really is so exciting at parts and stuff, and that's one of the beautiful things that we get to see more and more with as the advancements of cameras and you know, streaming services that can pay more for some documentary things and stuff like that. And you know, I think a lot of this kicked off with Planet Earth. You know, kind of
That's
this
right.
rejuvenation of like nature films and interest where you're getting to see things that people just didn't know animals existed this way, that they lived this way and stuff.
The closest for me, Jordan, would have to be my experience with Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say that for me is that Cousteau always had that humanistic quality about him, his love of the sea and animals, and that's what Foster really has. I mean, this is not, and you know, as I had said, this is not really about the photography. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's not about it. It's a beautiful addition to. It makes the film, you know, the film more amazing. But you're right. It's not. That's not what it's about. It's not like Planet Earth where you're just.
And he makes
that separation.
And Foster gives us his take on it all about his relationship to her and to the environment After all, he's picked just just a small area
Right, exactly.
of all of this, and he's consumed it and figured out there was so much going on there. He had a lifetime of
Yeah,
experience.
it's, I mean, one of the beautiful things, small moments in the film that I think everybody probably, I would assume that's seen it, loved as well, is when he sees the octopus with the school of fish.
Yes!
And realizes that he thinks at first that it's like trying to hunt them, and then realizes it's playing with them. And none of those animals knew they were being filmed, or, you know what I mean? So like, that's, to me, what I like to think is that there's that kind of, while there are, obviously scary things that happen in nature and stuff like that, there are moments like that too that are happening at any given moment,
All right,
It's awesome.
we need to go to our podcast, but right now, Jordan Hanawami, this film is My Octopus Teacher.
It is.
What grade do you give it?
A+, is that the highest?
I know you are not allowed, but I got the point. It is indeed a solid A for me, which I rarely give.
Yeah.
And it's on Netflix, and
It
I'll
is.
guarantee you, people will go back a second time.
Oh, it's worth it again. Do it again.